Communication Workers of America, Alliance for American Manufacturing, Bio Green Clean, and the iSave team bring you Ed Schultz news and commentary Monday through Friday. On the heels of the big debate last night, is there going to be a breakout candidate that is seriously going to challenge Donald Trump? Now, the polling in Iowa, very close. One poll shows that Trump has a 1-point lead. Another one says that Cruz is up by 10. The national poll you can't argue with, 41% to 14% to his closest challenger, and that would be Trump, and then to Cruz. But it was Cruz and Rubio who had quite a battle last night. And the conservatives have been watching this closely, wondering when this simmering was going to catch fire. Bottom line here is that the Gang of Eight seems to be haunting Marco Rubio. That the work he did with Chuck Schumer on the Gang of Eight dealing with immigration reform and then reversing his position is something the conservative movement will not allow him to forget. In the meantime, you have got Ted Cruz, who is saying different things about the immigration reform. Let's go to the sparring that they had last night on this issue.
After 10 years in that probationary status where all they have is a work permit, I personally am open to allowing people to apply for a green card. That may not be a majority position in my party, but that's down the road.
There was a time for choosing, as Reagan put it, where there was a battle over amnesty, and some chose, like Senator Rubio, to stand with Barack Obama and Chuck Schumer and support a massive amnesty plan.
I'm always puzzled by his attack on this issue. Ted, you support legalizing people who are in this country illegally. Ted Cruz supported a 500% increase in the number of H-1B visas, the guest workers that are allowed into this country, and Ted supports doubling the number of green cards.
I understand that Marco wants to raise confusion. It is not accurate what he just said, that I supported legalization. Indeed, I led the fight against his legalization and amnesty bill. And you know, there was one commentator that put it this way, that for Marco to suggest our record's the same, it is like suggesting the fireman and the arsonist have the same record because they're both at the scene of the fire. He was fighting to grant amnesty and not to secure the border. I was fighting to secure the border.
Does Ted Cruz rule out ever legalizing people that are in this country illegally now?
Senator Cruz?
I have never supported legalization.
Do you rule it out?
I have never supported legalization, and I do not intend to support legalization.
That was the key phrase in that whole thing. That's the most definition that we've had on Ted Cruz when it comes to immigration. So where does this sit in the conservative movement? Richard Viguerie joins us. He's the godfather of the conservative movement, been around many, many decades around this kind of stuff, and he's the chairman of the conservativehq.com. Mr. Viguerie, good to have you with us.
Good to be with you as always, Ed.
What you predicted on this show some months ago that Ted Cruz would be the one that would break out. He seems to be breaking out. But what did you think of that exchange last night between he and Rubio?
Well, it was a positive for Cruz and a negative for Rubio. It plays to the brand. I mean, he came on the scene as a Tea Party conservative after the 2010 election, but he quickly began to move into the establishment arena, and that Gang of Eight has just, from a marketing standpoint, which is what I do, he's been branded, and he's got that brand over him, and all last night's exchanges back and forth was to reinforce that very negative brand and when you're running in the Republican primaries. So he took a hit last night, no question about it.
So do you think Rubio can rehabilitate himself on this issue with the Gang of Eight baggage that he's got?
Well, the way I see it, Ed, is for all intents and purposes, it's really a three-person race right now. I think Carson is really, the walking dead, so to speak. So it's Rubio, Cruz, and Trump. And I think when the race really gets heated, March, April, I think Trump will slip away, and you'll have a two-person race. Rubio on the establishment side, and Cruz for the conservatives. And when it comes down to a two-person race between Rubio and Cruz, it's not really a fair fight because the conservatives, I think, will run away with that fight. This is a very interesting race. We've not had this in my lifetime, literally in my lifetime, where the establishment vote was so divided at the presidential level. We've got 4, 5, maybe 6 candidates fighting for that establishment vote there, which is only about 25-30% in the Republican primaries. And then the conservatives have always been divided in many ways. This time, the conservatives are moving strongly to support Cruz, and so I think by April, Trump will have been gone, and it'll be a two-person race. And I think Cruz, at the end of the day, will kind of walk away with it comfortably, I think.
Okay. Did Cruz seal it last night with this statement, "I have never supported legalization, and I do not intend to support legalization"? Is that strong enough for you?
Well, it certainly is strong enough for conservatives. I don't know if you could say it sealed it, but it certainly was a help, and I think that it reinforces the dividing line. And unfortunately for Rubio, Trump being in the race this year has really made immigration, illegal immigration, the border control, etc., a big issue in Republican primaries. And so if Trump had never been in the race, Rubio would probably be doing much better right now. But I think as long as Trump is where he is in the polls, it's going to make it very, very difficult to nominate a Rubio. That's the number one issue, it seems like, in this campaign right now. And I don't know how the Republican Party nominates Rubio with that being such a dominant issue.
Let's talk about Donald Trump. He seems to be gaining in the polls nationally. His position on not allowing some Muslims into the country until we, quote, get our act together, also going after terrorist families. He backed that up again last night. But his shift is that he says now that he will not run as an independent, which tells me that maybe he isn't as strong as he appears to be. Or that he's reading the poll numbers and he doesn't have to take that hardline position anymore. How do you see that, Mr. Viguerie?
Well, Ed, it's hard to know what's in Donald Trump's mind. I'm not sure he knows in the morning what he's going to be thinking at the close of the day. But I think that let me just be honest with you. Trump, the potentiality of him going third party is a very, very concerning thing to Republicans. Absolutely. It keeps us awake at night. And I just, who knows? He doesn't know if he's going to go third party right now. I'd say he won't go. I think the odds are against him going third party, but you can't rule it out. And if he, and one of the many reasons I support Cruz is the the candidate out there, Ed, that can support the 5 principal voting blocks of the Republican Party at the grassroots: national defense conservatives, economic conservatives, cultural conservatives, Tea Party conservatives, and the libertarians. He's the only candidate that can bring all those 5 of those. Plus, he has the best chance of all those candidates of keeping Trump in the party. You notice how he just won't go after Trump at all. He's trying to keep that bridge there. And he's the best candidate to keep Trump in the party as well as Trump voters. So it's looking pretty good right now for
Well, it was
Cruz.
interesting how Trump did not go after Cruz last night after saying previously in the week that he didn't have the temperament and criticized his performance on the United States Senate floor.
Yeah, let me just say that conservatives unanimously just beat Trump up about the head and shoulders for that statement. I mean, he caught a lot of grief for that outrageous statement.
Well, you moved him. I mean, if he caught a lot of grief, you definitely moved him because it was a different position on Ted Cruz last night. He had the world watching, and he didn't say the same thing. Right. And back to the independent run, I mean, I think Trump made it very clear last night he's going to run as a Republican, and there won't be an independent threat to the Republican Party. Is there a possibility that maybe the Republican leadership went to Trump and said, look, we're not going to undercut you anymore. If you win the nomination, we'll support you. I mean, was there some kind of conversation in that regard?
Well, this Republican establishment doesn't confide in me, Ed. So if
what do you make of his reversal on that?
Well, Trump is a lot of things, and one of those things is he's smart. He figures it out that he's running in a Republican primary, and he needs Republican voters, and he can't go out there and be flirting with a third party candidate and expect loyal Republicans to support him. So he's smart, but we don't know what he says today. Who knows what he'll say tomorrow? All
right, but you say he's going to eventually fizzle out.
He will.
And people have been predicting that for months, but he continues to roll in the polls. But you were certainly correct on Ted Cruz. He clearly is number 2 in all of this. and he may win Iowa, although winning Iowa hasn't been the shoe-in for every Republican in the past. You can look at Huckabee and look at Santorum on that. Now, the other thing is the NSA surveillance. There was a real difference of opinion between Rubio and Cruz last night on that. Are you comfortable with this exchange? This is cut 3 on the list. Here it is.
This is not just the most capable, it is the most sophisticated terror threat we have ever faced. We are now at a time where we need more tools, not less tools. And that tool we lost, the metadata program, was a valuable tool that we no longer have at our disposal.
Marco knows what he's saying isn't true. What he knows is that the old program covered 20 to 30% of phone numbers to search for terrorists. The new program covers nearly 100%. That gives us greater ability to stop acts of terrorism.
There is nothing that we are allowed to do under this bill that we could not do before. This bill did, however, take away a valuable tool that allowed the National Security Agency and other intelligence agencies to quickly and rapidly access phone records and match them up with other phone records to see who terrorists have been calling. Because I promise you, the next time there is an attack on this country, the first thing people are going to want to know is, why didn't we know about it and why didn't we stop it?
What about that, Mr. Viguerie? Is that just Senate minutia, or is that a key point in all of this?
No, you're right. It's the Senate minutia. My thought is, my eyes glaze over. I talk to a lot of conservatives every day, every week, and this is just not an issue of any importance to conservatives. No one believes that anybody up on that stage last night is really soft on national defense. They've got very different opinions about how to deal with our enemies out there, but that's a Senate issue that has no traction among Republican primary voters.
All right, we'll check in again with you, Mr. Viguerie. Appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
My pleasure, Ed. Bye.
You bet.